Hi, I'm doing Paul McQuarter's POW lessons at the moment, but I've previously done some of his other lessons, and I found that I will make a video for my homework and I'll put in some cunning tricks, and then I can never find it again. Or I write it on a scrap of paper and ditto, can never find it again. So I thought I would make a video and I would cover a certain topic and put everything that I know in this video. Some of the videos will be very short, and then I can watch it again if I need to find out anything, and other people can watch it if they want to. And I'm also going to put the code in the description, so you needn't even bother to watch the video. So this time it's all to do with print, and it's print in MicroPython and in Python 3.9, I think, is what I'm working in. So when you're doing print, you have all these escape sequences that you've most of them you don't use. I mean, obviously there's the \n for Newline and \r if you want to return to the beginning of the line without doing carriage return. But not many of the others are used, so I will just bear with me. This will get more interesting and more complicated later. So I've just got those two variables, and we'll use tab first of all. Right, so that is just print A, tab, and print B. So we'll run that. Yep, as you would expect, apple, pear. You can, instead of that, you can put end equals empty string, and that means that it doesn't do a carriage return afterwards. So let's have a look at that. Whoops, I actually forgot to put in, this might help, copy, there. I'm also covering end, set and flush, so this is end, right, end. So we'll try running that, and it looks exactly the same. So it isn't until you put something after it that you realise it's done something different. Right, we'll do it twice. And look, it does it, but it doesn't do a carriage return because of that end equals, and then it prints it out again, apple, tab, pear. Right, another thing. Right, you can use a separator, which means as opposed to when you print two variables out, it just prints it, you can, and it defaults to white space, so it defaults to one space in between them. You can put something else in it, so we'll run that. Apple and pear, yep, you put that in the sep. Next thing. I know this is boring and basic, but I just wanted to put everything in. Right, print using an F string. So you put within the curly brackets apple and pear, and it ought to do the same thing. Yep, it does. Then this one. Right, for I in range 0 to 9, print I, and then you have the end of being an empty string. So normally if you go for I in range 0 to 9, you'd have it one on each line, but what happens if you have the end? Yeah, it scrunches them all up together, which is exactly what you'd want. You can do something different, as in Right, what will that do? That is printing the set of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I haven't done anything with the end. It's just that that is actually printing the set. Now, next, if you want, you can make it go beep. So that is the \A, which is the ASCII Bell. Now this would vary on depending on what you're running on. Did I say I was running on Windows? Right, there. Did you hear that? No, I spoke over it. Hope you heard that there. And next one, you can print the value. You can print a character depending on its octal value, if you get my drift. So if you do that, it will tell you that it is an S, which is all great, but I don't know if many people use octal. I prefer hex. There we go, 57 in hex is W. Right. If you actually want to print a backslash, you put in your string 2 backslashes. So we'll see whether that works. Yep, that works. And equally, I'll do all these at once. Right, there we go. If you want to print a double quote, or you have to go backslash double quote or backslash single quote for whatever, or put them in unpaired things. So if you want to print a single quote within single quotes, you need to put backslash quote within them. Yep. If you want to print a single quote within double quotes, you just put the single quote. If you want to print a double quote within single quotes, ditto, it's just you put it in there. And if you want to print double quote within double quotes, you need the backslash double quote. That's all fairly obvious. Next example. We don't need apple and pear. Right, this is using Backspace. Now Backspace is non-destructive, as is Carriage return, so it just moves it back. So I didn't want that. Right, so I'm printing Charlotte, but I've made a mistake. I know you wouldn't normally do this, so I'm going back 3, doink, 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 and then I'm printing a T, and hopefully it won't destroy the E or the T, only it will go back to the O, and it should print what I want. Yep, that works. And equally, you can do the same thing with carriage return. So I've put in Warlot. I've done a carriage return to take me to the beginning of the line and then put the C. Will that work? Yep. Right. We finished, thank goodness, with all the escape sequences. No, I don't want to go there. Next thing. No, that wasn't next thing. I'm not doing very well here. Next thing. Right, we have a variable called year, a variable, a string called cat, that's an integer, that's a string. And if you print f string with how you would normally do it is you just go print an f string like that. We'll run that, yep, and it prints out the year, it prints out the cat. But if you put in an equals sign, it does something fairly nifty. It actually says year equals, and then it tells you what's in the variable. Equally, it goes animal equals and what's in the variable, which I think is pretty useful, because if you're debugging, that's quite often what you want to do. And if you just print out the variable, you can't remember what on earth you're printing out. So as well as that, you can put in an expression. So I've got an array of numbers, and I can do an f string and print the min of the numbers equals and the sum of the numbers equals. And that's what it says. It tells you that's exactly what you've asked it to do. You've put in that expression equals, and then it will evaluate it, which is quite useful. Right, formatting integers. Num equals 13, you just print it and it comes out as 13. But you can put it still in your f string, and if you put a colon after the variable within the curly brackets, then that will say make it 3 digits please. Try running that. Yep, it's 3 digits. Here, you can do the same thing, but instead of putting a 0 there, you've put a space. So that means you're wanting it to be 4 characters long, with padded at the beginning with spaces. Yeah, you can see, or you can't see the spaces, but they are there. Right. Copy. Whoops. Next one. You can put comma between thousands. So that means you're just saying, and I added 1,000 to it because otherwise you wouldn't see the comma. And as before, you put the colon and then you just put comma. Try running that. Yep, that looks pretty good. Next one. You can print it out as binary. 1101, 1, 2, 4, 8. Yep, that's 30. Then just by changing that, you can the B to X, you can print it out as lowercase hex because that's lowercase. Yep, 13. 10 A B C. Yep, that's 13. And if you change the X to capital, capital X, you'll print it out as capital D. Then quite often you want it printed out with the 0x prefix. So we'll see what that does. Yep, that's exactly what it does. And then we will try this one. Now this one is printing it out as 8 characters, and you want it divided in sections, which I think is every 4, by an underscore. It doesn't like that, and you think, oh, don't know why it didn't like that. But this is where it's very strange. If I switch to Python, I'm on 3.10, and run it, it works. It just isn't implemented in MicroPython, which is quite annoying. So everything else has been the same before. So we'll go back to MicroPython. That's kind of all that's of any interest. Floating point numbers. Right, price equals that. If you just print it, with an F string, right, it just prints it as it was. Then you can say, again, it's a colon, and then it's a dot for the decimal point, and then it's saying no decimal places please, and it rounds it. Then you can go that's just saying comma between thousands. Which doesn't work, and you think that's odd, and then you go back to Python 3.10, and it does work, but it doesn't. The annoying thing is it worked for the integer, but it doesn't work for the floating point, and this is what could be really, really, really very annoying. Then while we're still in 3.9, hold on, 3.10 even, right, this is using an underscore between the thousands and no decimal places. Right, so there we have 12,000 doink 346. Change back to MicroPython. No, I don't like that. So I'd like a bit of consistency, please. We'll try something else. Right, so that is saying print a width of 12 characters with 2 decimal places. We'll try running that, and there we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, that works okay. And equally, you can just put a 0 in front of there. I think that would do it. And instead of leading spaces, it will give you leading zeros. So that is enough of integers. Right, let's move on to strings. Right, I've just got this array of tuples, and it's just animals, so that's the kennel they're in, the animal name, and their age. So I can just do this. I'll add that, and what that does is it goes through the animals, and it will print out the kennel, and that says make it 2 digits long. The kennel number is 2 digits long, with a leading 0, and then the name, you are giving it a width of 12 characters and it's being right aligned, and then the age I'm making 2 digits long. I don't know what the difference between that and that is. Probably nothing. And then it's printing it at the end, so we'll just try running that. Right, there we have it. Oh, and I put a dot there. I don't know, I didn't mention the dot. So it's kennel dot, then it's the right justified name, and then it's the age. And you can left justify if you wish, like that, left justify, and you can center it if you want, if you can find that right character. Yeah, there they are centered. So that's just a bit of what you can do with printing F strings. Another thing that's quite useful is you can print 50 hashes. Like if you want to divide up your print so it looks more easy to read. There we go, print out 50 hashes. And if you want to print out a bullet list, this is quite good. So your bullet list, you print animals in France, and then you put a new line, so it goes on to the next line, and then you have asterisk space, and then the same there and the same there, and the last one you don't want it to go on to asterisk space, if you get my drift. Look, and that way you can produce a nice bullet list. Now this one, I had this line or this character in one of my Arduino programs, so I copied code from the Unicodes or whatever, and in using the Arduino IDE, it comes out as it looked on the Wikipedia page, but it doesn't. It's black and white here, so that is a bit strange that it won't do it. But I just wanted to show you that you can actually put anything in there. Well, not anything, but you can just find a character that you want, put it in there, and it will print it. So now I want to talk about ASCII escape sequences. So we'll get rid of all of that. Now I've put the Wikipedia page to tell you all about them, and if you put in an ASCII sequence, escape sequence, you can control colour, and it does kind of depend on what system you're using. I couldn't get many colours on Windows using Thonny, but I don't quite know why. So you've got colour, you can make it bold, underline it, strike out in italic, and there we go. You go those for all the zero turns everything off, but apart from that, bold, italic, understrike, underline, strike out, and then the colours. So what you can do is you can have your program, your line, and sorry, I need to turn on the light. Right, so print, this is, and then your escape sequence has to start with backslash 033 open square bracket, and then you put the code in there, that's red, and then an M, and then you put in the rest of your line, and then equally you put in backslash 033 open square bracket, and then that's a 0 to turn it back off. Right, this is very clever, but not that clever. And you can do that, the same thing with an F string. So you don't need to put things in your quotes. This is very clever, so we will run that. Yep, this is still very clever. But it's a bit of a pain to have to write out the backslash 033 open blah 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 blah. So what you can do is you can write a little function, and you just pass it the code, and then it will return the F string blah 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 blah, and that seems to work pretty well. So we will test this out. Right, this is blah blah blah, passing it into ASCII 31, which is red, 1, which is bold, and 4, which is underline, and then return it to normal. Yep. And for some reason that I cannot get around, the underline isn't red. I wonder what would happen. No, it wouldn't work. You've already turned it red. Well, that is just how it is. Then that was as a string. We'll try this one. This is, oh, just an F string, so I've shortened it a bit. Will that work? Yep, that still works. And I'm doing this on MicroPython, and I kind of thought, how come that works? Because you've got a single quote, a single quote, a single quote, and a single quote. I thought, that's odd, but it works. But if you go into Python 3 and run it, it jolly well doesn't work. Consistency, please, chaps. So if you want to do it just because it works in MicroPython doesn't mean that it should work. So if you change it to double quotes around the outside, we're still in Python 3.10. Yep, that works. And if you go back to the Pico MicroPython, it still works. Now, right. If you type that, that is a raw string, which means it doesn't do anything with your backslashes. It doesn't say, oh, if you've put a backslash, then you you want it to do something special, which is quite handy if you actually want to well, I'll show you what I mean. Here we have in fact I think I can get rid of, oh, I won't get rid of it yet. Right, importing times from time you sleep, showing the spinner, and then you're putting a couple of spaces, and end is empty string, so it doesn't do it. And then for you, underscore means that you aren't using that, so you don't have to put phi in, whatever. And for spinner, in that raw string, so you're displaying that, and off it jolly well spins. You print it. I wanted to go back one. Can't remember why I wanted to go back one. And then you're printing the spinner with sep equals nothing, and the end equals nothing. You sleep for 2. Oh, I know why I wanted to go back. Sorry, the reason why I wanted to go back is because I've printed that showing the spinner. I haven't gone on to a new line. Then I'm going to be printing that, then going back, then printing that, then going back, then printing that. If you get my drift, we'll just run that and see what happens. Right, showing the spinner, it goes twiddle, 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 twiddle. And I've only had to print the showing the spinner once because it leaves it on the line and it's just going backspace, which is quite good. Then I have got a progress bar. Paste. I'm sure I don't need any of that. Right, progress bar, paste, and oh, don't know what happened there. Sorry. Right, I'm just putting in another line. Copy that. Put it in there. Then I want to right. Where I'm copying it from is in strange format. Right. So here we have a function called progress, and you're wanting to print out progress bar. It's easier to show you what happens first of all, because it might go horribly wrong. Right, this is what you want it to happen. You're going dooby 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 doo, and I'm doing it twice so you can see that it doesn't all blow up if you're doing it, because it goes over here. It's going for 1 with percent and then the 100%. So when you do it again, you want to make sure you don't have the percent left, if you get my drift. So you're just taking the you're inputting the percentage and working, and the width you can make it, that's 25, and you're just working out how many spaces you want. The bar is how many dots, and the spaces is how many spaces you've got left over. And then you do a carriage return, so you aren't going on to the next line. You print you do the carriage return, then you print a dot bar times, if you get my drift, and then you print a space, and then the number of spaces you require, and then you print that. So you've gone, and then here I'm printing the percentage as a percentage, and then the separation character is empty string, otherwise there'll be something in between those, and the end, it means that you don't do a new line, and we're doing that twice. So if you play about with it, you'll work out what it does. But you can also put in, instead of that line, you could put in that line. So instead of putting a dot, which I put in before, I'm putting in a blocky. I've just copied that. It's from Unicodes or whatever. You can put in anything, and I'm making it red beforehand. So we'll see what happens there. Right. I forgot to put in that bit. Right, you need this ASCII code bit. Try again. Yeah, there. I'm not going to try and explain the code anymore because I'm doing a rubbish job. Right, that's done that. What else have I got? Probably nothing. Oh, this is just something I copied in. That's setting it. If I don't set it back, it will print in red. And then I just copied a little heart, and I was kind of hoping that it would print it out as it was in Unicode, but I did the same thing again. Stupid woman. Right, we'll put it back. We will put that back in there. Right, so I'm just putting it back, turning everything off and printing that out, and it comes out in black and white, which is very disappointing. Then I can try again. Same thing, apart from, ooh, I don't know what colour that is. I think that, oh, that would be green. Will that work out? Green? Yeah, that works as green. Then I've got another one, just to show that you can do various things. This is 34 is blue, 3, and you can combine them. So I've got bold and italic. There. Yeah. Blue, bold, italic. And just to see whether you can actually do it, I have cyan, bold, italic, underline and strikeout. Yeah, why anyone would want to do that, I do not know, but there's my video.